Welcome back to part two of Adventures in Babysitting Villy. Our heroes have just defeated the Chronomancer and have found themselves in a weird kind of cavern-like space that is appearing to coalesce out of the ethereal plane around them. The ethereal plane falls away, and the floor seems to materialize out of nothing, and you realize that your voices are now echoing back to you like you are in a small tunnel instead of being in a void of nothingness. The
Interesting.
the chronomancer lies unconscious across across with most of his body on top of the area of his control section that broke off. Um, but his tail is stretching off and is now on the floor of what is looking increasingly like a basalt stone.
Does he have anything on him? Pouches, magic items, anything that looks like he could use it offensively when he wakes up?
He has a variety of things on him. He is wearing kind of herringbone striped cloak that covers over the top of him. Now that he's unconscious, the aura of shadow around him has dropped, and you see that he looks like a, rel- a relatively regular Yuan-Ti abomination. He's kind of a buff color with a large cobra-like hood that is pink colored underneath. A very large gaping but a blunt triangular head, um, and wearing a variety of bandoliers and belts that have all manner of pouches, and has a pair of bracers on, several rings, large piercings along the edge of the hood, each of which has a different color stone in it, and completely beringed in jewelry. Very high quality jewelry as well.
Hmm.
I'd like to take some of those rings,
Okay, the finger rings, the hood rings.
the finger rings.
Okay, there are no less than seven to choose from. Are
Um,
you just gonna grab all of them?
well, I don't want to grab all of them if we're all gonna share them. Um, I'll grab like two of them.
I do want to disarm him. So, like spell components, magic items. Take the bracers off.
So you're gonna strip him.
Well, no, I don't want him naked. I'm not into that. But
I got rope, but I don't know how to tie up a snake-like person.
yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Take the bracers off of them. Take the spell components off them.
Yeah,
I mean, I
maybe
whooped,
that's a great
I
idea.
whooped his ass once. I can do it again. I just really don't want him to have a surprise nuke.
Where he's pretending to be unconscious and then comes in and
Right.
does his absolute worst. That says enough. That says enough.
so the so the so you're as you're looking around, it is still really dark. The effigy is the only thing that's shedding off any light, but it's very dim light. It only produces about a 5 foot circle of light.
I can cast light if I pick up a somebody wants to give use the end of their weapon or pick up a rock off the floor. If there's any loose stones, I can cast light on it.
Um,
What would you like to do?
Are there any loose stones on the ground?
Uh, Not really. The ground's pretty smooth here, and you notice that it appears to have marks of frequent passage. Actually, there's drag marks. You see ruts. You see the marks of sledges being dragged past, as well
Seems
as
like someplace
lots of
that
foot traffic.
he would frequent then if there's drag marks.
But before I cast light on something, can I see any dim light, like distant light in any one direction?
Roll a perception check. And does green have any other sort of extrasensory perception aside from just visible light?
Nope. Nat 20, 27.
So you see that there is light off to the far we'll call it that direction. So but in the direction where the foot of of the of of the construct here is pointing. So we'll say that way, as opposed to
Okay.
that way, which is the other with
Right.
that way, which is the other way direction the tunnel points.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like a large lava tube, about 15 feet in diameter.
Well, there's something I indicate to that there is light in that direction if we wish to travel that direction.
You notice that air motion is actually pushing you in the opposite direction. So it's like the air is coming in from where the bit of light that you see is, and being pulled in the opposite direction, where it is darker.
That is odd.
That means that's the entrance.
Huh.
Maybe Mitt has something on him that you could illuminate, some kind of staff or I don't know, something on him that we could use as.
Well, somebody has a sword or a knife or a bow or I mean, just give me an arrow. I don't give a shit. Give me something. I can cast light on the.
I'll give you an arrow.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't know if it had to be specific. Yeah, I'll hand him an arrow.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll cast light on the end of the arrow, and now we've got a little tiny flashlight.
So you cast light on the arrow, and the arrow begins to glow, and it illuminates about a 10-foot circle around you. Using this, you're able to see the top of the lava tube, and it looks like a natural formed lava tube that has been used is being used as a tunnel to get between what you imagine is probably a cavern on the inside, and the light that you see coming from the far end is not very bright at all. It might be twilight outside. If it's an outside, it might be twilight out there, or it might be another cavern that has some sort of light source in it. You're not really sure. All you know is that fresh air is coming from that direction and blowing towards the inside of the darker area.
Were those rings that I took, were they magical by any chance?
Yes, both of them were magical.
I'm just gonna put them in my. Oh, well, how is Villy doing? Villy, how you doing?
I think at this point, Billy's finally managed to get herself to her feet, and she's just kind of like, I don't even know why I try. My dad always said to be afraid of things like that, but then everybody calls me daughter of time, and it's like, what is the point of even having these rings if I can't do anything with them besides, I don't know, get completely drained of them or get completely overcharged by them? What am I even doing?
I mean, You did just transport us somewhere, so I would say that is beyond any capability that I would have, unless I had some kind of, maybe
You'd
like
think
a
if I was some
transporter.
magical construct that my father created and my parents created, that they would have given me some kind of control. At this point, I can't even control it to help my friends. I mean, I can do little things, but most of the time, it's just putting us in danger or in harm's way, or at best, doing something that I have no control over.
Here, wait. I know what'll make you feel better. Can you identify these rings for me?
Absolutely. But yeah, hold up. What is identify? First level? First of all, just out of curiosity, because he's obsessed with us anyway, it's a stretch, but is any of them the Ring of Ibon?
No, none of them is the Ring of Ibon.
Okay. Alright. In that case, as we're walking, I'll say, oh no, my snacks are on top of my spells.
Come here.
Can I ritual cast identify?
Yes,
I'm not
you may.
using a spell slot because it's one of my wizard spells.
Yes, you
So
may.
I can say as we're walking that I just slowly identify.
Are you going to walk in a particular direction?
Or just wherever. I'm going to start casting identify because education and spell casting is a wizardly stuff is a welcome distraction to my fucking sorcery questions. And
it's about
so I'd imagine.
It's about a 5-minute ritual cast for you at this point, because
Okay.
the level of sorcerer and wizard that you are, you've done this enough times that you can do it pretty quickly, and you are able to identify both. What the blue one is a ring of cold resistance,
Ooh.
and the yellow one is a ring of free action.
Ooh.
What does that mean?
Something that he probably could have used when he was grappled.
Oh.
That would be fucking amazing for a spellcaster. Because normally we can't even if I cast Quicken Spell, I can't do 2 spells in a round. But I mean, if I could cast, that's almost fully broken, being able to cast 2 fire balls if I needed to.
Actually,
but that being said,
a ring of free action makes it so that difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra movement, and
cool.
and magic can't reduce your speed or cause you to be paralyzed or restrained. So, Green, you restrained him the only way that he could be restrained, which was physically.
Ah, okay.
I see the little twinkle in your eye, Billy. If you want the yellow ring, I'll let you have the yellow ring if you can identify another ring for me.
I mean, I'll just identify them all. I don't care. I don't need the yellow ring.
The other rings are there are rings of resistance to fire and poison and disease, as well as a haste ring. You also
we need haste on a melee person. On the
hood rings, there's a ring of general magic resistance. There is a captive Ioun stone, as well as a ring of elemental summoning, and an amulet of health.
Damn.
Yeah, you got. I stacked this guy with just about resistances to just about everything, and you did the one thing that could get past all that.
Sorry.
I would say. I would say I definitely have this one resistance to fire, just because fire is kind of my thing. And Ring of General Magic sounds like something
Maybe Green should take the Ring of Fire Resistance. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was kidding. I was teasing.
Oh, no. I've also got Elemental Adept, which just the spells I cast ignore resistance to fire. So if somebody has resistance to fire and I cast that on them, it's more, honestly, the ring makes more sense in something that, it makes more sense for my character to have that power than it does for me to have the ring, but because the power makes sense with my character, that's kind of, yeah, magical resistance would be cool too, just don't hit me with my own shit.
The other thing that you find on Mitt is a matching chest and back piece, which are connected by chains of mithril. They have a blue diamond inserted in both the front, in the direct center of the front chest piece, and at the direct center of the rear back piece. And this has the ability to interface with the control. It's the control device for his machine here.
The thing that we wrecked.
Yes.
Oops.
Well, I mean, you've got the part of it. You just have to plug it in somewhere because you pulled it out of the. It came away from the power of it.
What about the bracers that he had on?
Yes.
Were those anything?
Yes. The bracers are. They are bracers of phasing.
I've already got those.
No, I took the bracers.
Those bracers are cool. No, I'm saying my character has bracers. Those are cool.
Bracers of phasing. What does that even do?
Move through solid objects.
Okay.
Comes in handy in rescue situations.
And also when you're trying to dimensional travel so you don't get fucking caught and sent to a harmless demiplane or something. That's why my dad gave them to me.
Or stuck inside a rock.
Like a void.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Villy, make an insight check.
It's 14.
These are the same bracers of phasing.
What? Like the same exact, like as in
the same exact ones as you see Green putting them on, you feel the bracers on your arms like starting to pull towards them.
I step back and I say, he's lying. He had to have had interactions with Seamus. Those are his braces.
What?
Seamus, maybe my dad, sort of my dad, mostly my dad. They were his braces, but there's two of them. Because there's two of him, that makes there's two braces. It's complicated. That's weird.
Are they perhaps the same?
Yeah, they would be the same. Because time split, creating two realities, sometimes with the same people and their same objects. And I reach for my neck and remember, I was going to use the skeleton key as an example, and I remember that Bast has the skeleton key, and we don't know what he is, and that's terrifying. But yeah, there was another object that when we met this version of the Seamus from this timeline, he also had that were identical, but they repelled each other because, I don't know, I guess it causes some sort of paradox. It should cause a paradox when two things from different timelines that should not exist together become close. But I think that's what we have here with the braces. But unless in this timeline the braces belong to Mitt, which I can't even imagine, that just means he's had interactions with this timeline's version of the Seamus. Maybe stolen them. I don't know. I guess that'd be a question for him. Confusing.
Yes.
Did she mention the tugging at all? Or do I see?
Sorry, say that again.
I don't think she mentioned the tugging at all.
Okay.
Not yet.
But Green,
Okay.
once
No,
you
I stepped back.
once you have them on, you also notice that you feel them tugging slightly towards Villy.
Sorry, I did say that I was using the example of the skeleton. They repel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very curious.
The chest piece, is that the size of Mitt?
It's scaled for his chest, but it's really only a medallion about maybe 8 inches in diameter.
Because I'd like to take that chest piece, but
Okay.
not if it's gonna be like a child wearing grown-up clothes.
It would be very much like that. The back piece is larger. It's about 12 inches in diameter, and it's more of a scapular shape, kind of shaped like a
Mhm.
bike seat, so that it fits between shoulder blades.
Could I? You said it was woven with mithril, like on the sides.
No,
The two, the,
it's a chest piece and a back piece, and it has four mithril ropes that connect them. So you kind of shimmy it on around you, and it's a chest piece and a back piece with four ropes that connect it.
I want to take the mithril off of it. Like I want to get my tinker tools and take it off the connecting points
They're
of the
they're
back
woven
piece.
in, they're woven in as eye splices. You will need a significant workshop with vices and all sorts of stuff in order to do that.
I,
I
I,
do have
I, I say
artificer's
we,
tools as
let's
well.
let's. I say we screw with these things later. Let's get the hell out of this cavern.
Also, it's probably worth mentioning that we should near each other have these braces because dimensional implosions.
At some point, homeboy gonna wake up. So
I thought
that's
we
a
were
thing.
taking him with us.
We cannot leave him.
I thought we were killing him.
Why would we do that?
What if we needed him?
Living room.
I mean, what are we doing? Bringing him back to the Markells?
Being a dick. You.
Oh wait! Once we get out of here, we also have the scrying globe to speak to Vishamus. Do I get a sense that would work here? Probably not.
You haven't
Well,
tried it?
we were supposed to find information.
Can I pull
From
out
him.
the scrying globe?
Sure.
I just want to see what it looks like if it seems like it's down here.
It's about a 3-inch sphere that appears to be of glass. It seems to hum from within with a potential energy.
Do I get a sense that this would probably be a rune charge thing?
No, this is something
Okay.
that anyone can access, actually.
Okay. And I guess I just kind of however I can, I just kind of hone the magic onto it. Think of the Seamus, and I guess just kind of tap tap tap. Hello.
You push your will into it with your thought of Vishamus, and you see it a few seconds later. It seems to light up as if a cloth is being pulled off from the top of it, and you see Vishamus's face, and he says, "Villy, I didn't expect to hear from you yet. How are you, child?"
Confused. So we met the Chronomancer, and I guess I kind of turn it around to the and that happened. Do you have any reason? Do you know why he has braces of phasing?
Chronomancer.
Exactly the same as the ones that I have here.
Braces
my
of
version
phasing.
of
Braces
Yes.
of phasing. You have braces. What do you do? What's going on? Who are those people with you? Villy, where are you?
Oh, God. Question. Are you married?
Questions, child. What are these riddles in the middle of
Are you
the night?
married to Mom? Just tell me if you're...
Why aren't you in your bed asleep?
Oh, God.
Here, and you see a door in the side of the lava tube swing open, and you see Vishamus pokes his head out, and he's wearing a sleeping cap, and you can see his office is looks like the middle of the night on the other side, and he says, "Where are you? What are you doing here? Who are these? Who is that? Mitt? What happened? Mitt, what happened?"
How do you know the Chronomancer? How do you know Mitt?
He steps in, and the key is in his hand. You see the skeleton.
Oh, the skeleton key.
The skeleton key is in his hand, and he's stepping in and says, "Where are you anyway? What and why do you have Mitt on the ground? Who?" He looks at
Seamus.
he looks at Green and says, "What have you done to him?"
Seamus, Dad, there's dimensional things going on right now. I need to answer some questions because there's multiple versions of people.
What?
Multiple versions of people from different timelines.
Okay. Well.
So do you?
What?
Do you know who Samay is?
Samay, your sister? Of course.
Okay, wait. So, sorry.
Is Samay here as well? Is she not asleep in her bed?
No. Okay. So just so you guys understand, I'm trying to figure out if this is a different version of Seamus because he does.
It seems like the different version based on like the way he's talking. Like he would have. Oh, I lost her.
She'll be back shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If he's asking who I am, then it's definitely a different one because
that's what I'm thinking.
Parents, entrusted me, and they even paid me to bring you back safely. So this is definitely a different version.
Oh God. But this is a version with Samay. I'm so confused. Okay, my brain hurts. But Seamus. So I guess I kind of put away the scribe book because he's right here. Sorry, I think we contacted a different version of you. There's different timelines, different things going on. Apparently, Mitch, those braces of phasing, were they yours?
He looks you up and down and says, "There must be something going on. You're taller."
Oh God.
Yes. Quick, into the study. He's looking around, and he's looking down the tunnel, and he pulls out a monocle, and says, "Oh yes, we must move quickly. Quick, into the door. Into the door."
Guess I'd look at the others.
Why?
It appears that he pulls out his scrying globe, and looks at something, and his eyes widen briefly. His eyes becoming glowing against his skin in the darkness, and he says, we must get out of here immediately, quickly, before they come."
Look, no matter what confusion's going on, I trust you.
Before who knows we're here?
But we're in the lands of the Celestial Emperor. He does not brook magical intrusion into his realm well. Quick, help me! And he begins to try to start dragging Mitt towards the doorway.
I help him.
I'll help. Sure.
I'm very disgruntled. There
Yeah.
could have been gold.
Yadwiga, make a perception check.
Oh God.
18.
You hear the sounds of footfalls, many footfalls coming from the darkened end of the tunnel.
Yadwiga.
Gonna go into the doorway. I'm not happy about this though, but I did take the rings.
Well, you're bringing Mitt with you as well, so
Yeah.
what you are leaving behind is his construct. Just to be clear.
I want to quickly grab the gems, if there are any gems on there.
There are six gems on there.
I want to go ahead and grab that.
Okay.
And
Sorry, there are 5 gems on there because you pulled the effigy off already.
yes.
So it's the effigy plus 5 gems. Just so you know, the support stick up here appears to be some sort of valuable crystal as well, and the chevron up here appears to be some sort of purplish metal, encased in a crystalline glass of some kind.
Yeah, I want to grab those, and I want to see if there's anything else that I can grab from this ritual circle.
Not really, because the mosaic and the ritual circle that are built into the wall are it's in stone inlays and stuff like that. So to
Okay.
pull if you pull anything out, you'll destroy it. The crystalline structure is mounted with copper into the top, and will take a couple of rounds to free.
Okay.
So you're gonna climb up there. It's about 3 times your height.
What about the chevron? Is that easier to grab?
The chevron is out of reach. It'll be easier to break it off at the copper interface to the crystal rod and just carry the whole thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell Green and be like, Green, can you throw me up there and help me pull that down?
Green already has his arms full of Mitt. So do you want to put Mitt down and gnome toss?
I can also
Well-
use my shoes of spider climbing.
That is true.
I'll go ahead and use my shoes
So
and climb up there to grab it.
So you cartoon walk your way up the back of it, reminding yourself a little bit of how of the funky gravity of the area you were just in. Climb up to the top, and you have to destroy the copper mounting of the crystal rod, but you're able to get the crystal rod away intact. It takes a couple of rounds, during which time the footsteps start coming closer and closer, and it sounds like several dozen small creatures moving towards you. But they are not yet visible.
Yadwiga, come on.
I'm going as fast as I physically can. But I'm going to use that ring to... Oh, no, that wasn't a ring.
Not for puppies. Hey, not for
There
puppies.
was a ring of haste, but haste is...
Yeah, for...
Does haste affect speed, or is it just... I know it's multiple actions. It gives you
It's just
extra.
yeah, it's just multiple actions. It doesn't affect your actual run speed. That's a different ring.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going as fast as I can.
Okay, so as you prize it away, and you shimmy your way back down the construct, as you begin to see the reflection of eyes off in the distance, and there's several dozen, and they're all just a little taller than you, but there's lots of them. You get to the door, and you are through the door back into Vishamus's study.
Is everyone in? Am I the last one in?
You are the last one in.
So then I'll just close the door behind me.
The door closes behind you, and the portal de-energizes. Vishamus puts the ring away. You notice the study looks a little different from when you were there. Still a lot of the same things, but you notice a few things there that were not there before, and a few things that were there that are now missing.
I look out the window, because remember, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember there was a significant difference in the architecture
Yes, there
of
was.
Solaire.
It is that same architecture, but you notice it's number one, it's nighttime outside. Number two, it had been early fall before, and now it is obviously spring, because because there are flowers all over all the trees.
I turned to Seamus. So how old is your Villy?
My Villy?
Ignore the weirdness of that question. How old am I?
He looks you up and down, and appears to make a decision. And he says, "Well, you're certainly not my Villy, but you are a Villy. So that's good enough for me. My Villy is 11 years old."
Oh God.
"And how old are you, Villy?"
Almost 16. Yeah. And the craziest thing is, you're the third version of you that I've met.
Fascinating. Please.
Extremely fascinating. But we also have to be incredibly careful because of things like this. And I show my bracers and I point to the bracers that Green has.
He looks consideringly at Yadwiga and Green, seems to make another decision, and says, "Very well, but first you must tell me, what business had you with Myth the Chronomancer here?"
Well, when we first discovered...
Are you responsible for his condition?
I am.
Yeah, it would have been worse if it was just me. Once I found out that he had been watching you in some way, he'd been watching you and Mum and Sume, I can't say I was in the position to give much mercy, especially with the implications that he was going to be using us to fuel his constructs.
Constructs. Very.
Yes.
I knew that his experiments were progressing, but to test them using live people. This is not something to which he has stooped before.
See, we're not just people, though. We come from a different time, and we had to fracture time to fix it. Basically, an incredibly complex version of the things that at least my version of you used to study when I was a child. The rifts in time and how to fix it, and the Chronomancer that you never let me study, which I'm currently studying a bit more of now. Then again, this was a different version of you. Sorry, it's confusing. I'm doing better with you than I did with the previous one. I think I've accepted it a bit more. So...
This is bizarre. Well,
it's very bizarre.
Either way, we cannot allow your mother to find you in this state right now.
And we especially cannot allow me to, if there is still a version of your Villy that exists, because for some reason in the previous version of the Seamus that I met, that Villy had disappeared with my presence. So, in order to avoid that happening to your Villy, probably should stay away.
He looks around and surveys the rest of you and says, "You should all stay here. Please tend Myth if he regains consciousness. If you require," and he reaches into his desk and pulls out a pair of lead bracelets, and he says, "If he begins to resist, put these on him." And he hands the bracelets to Villy.
Thank you. Sorry, I got distracted. I didn't mean to say that. previous version of you knew that we had come from a rift in time, we all essentially helped reverse an apocalyptic event to repair time, because I was, created to do that kind of thing. But we all worked together to do this ritual to repair time, and because there were 6 of us who did this, it essentially repaired the world but also broke it. And that's why the previous version of the Seamus wanted us to meet the Chronomancer and to see what the repercussions of that could be and why their Billy had disappeared. So that's where we were coming from, going to meet the Chronomancer. We had no intention of killing him until, I'll be honest, I saw a bit of red when I thought that he might have messed with you in moments of May.
Very well. You remain here. The 2 of you help yourself to some refreshments if you wish. I shall return shortly after I ascertain the condition of my family. Villy, keep them here.
I will.
And he exits out the front door of the office. The rest of you, it's a comfortable office. There's a leather sofa along one wall. You are obviously in a high elven city. Yadwiga and Villy have been here before, but for Green, you appear to be inside a large tree that has been filled in a few places with some tiled stonework. It's obviously an academic's office with a couple of large windows that look out onto a large temple in the middle of a courtyard outside. You are obviously fairly high up inside a large tree, and there are all manner of artifacts and shelves of books and various objects around this study. It kind of looks a little bit like Indiana Jones's office.
I just collapse into the couch, just like.
I'm gonna take those lead bracers and place them on the Chronomancer already.
Okay.
Yeah, how's he doing? He's breathing okay?
Yeah, he's breathing. But he's still unconscious.
Fragile. Okay.
Yeah, it's a long time for him to be unconscious.
Well, he was connected to this machine and then pulled out of it. And when the machine lost power, it would be trying to draw power from anything that it could.
Oh, I see. I understand. Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to ransack this library. No disrespect, Billy, but I want to find anything we can about the Chronomancer, and also look into tales, myths, legends of a temple in the desert sands.
Well, guess what? You're in a party with a sage researcher. When you attempt to learn or recall a piece of lore, if you do not know it, you often know where or from whom you can obtain it. I can help you find that information.
Perfect. I'm gonna say, Billy. Oh,
and because Villy spent a couple hundred years locked in this office, she knows where most of the books are.
Yes. Just make sure you put them back in alphabetical order, and when they're by the same author, it's alphabetical order by title. When it's volumes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and when on else fails, size.
How about we wait to see if this is an evil Vishamus or not before we don't make it a headache for him in his office?
I find it hard to believe that there would even be an evil Vishamus. I mean, if anything, he's an academic, so he's not always super connected to his emotions about things. I wouldn't call him extra good, but I don't think he'd ever have bad intentions for me. That being said, we've seen enough, so I understand your concerns.
I'd like to make his life a little more hellish for now. Because of one Vishamus. But if he's nice, then I'll put it back.
I'm just incredibly confused.
So the Chronomancer is now wearing the leaden bracelets.
No.
He's kind of sprawled out on the floor between across the middle of the floor, next to one of the examination tables. Um, there is a small closet of refreshments that you find that it has a couple different bottles of wine, a couple bottles of water, a few pieces of a couple pieces of what appear to be some sort of crystallized amber, and uh, as well as a few various foodstuffs that are canned and from apparently from far off lands that are just like small like baby food sized jars, samples of different foods.
So I know it's a different version of a Seamus, but he did give me the Ring of Ibon when I was 12. And until that happened, it was in a display case in his office because that was a version of the Seamus that had a sister. Is there a Ring of Ibon in the display case in his office?
There is not.
Damn it!
Is there a blanket or something in here that I could a blanket or a throw or something?
Yes, there are actually a couple of there's a section, kind of like they have curtain organizers that are just long rods that have like carpets or pelts or anything put over it. There's a couple of different ones. One of them is a large Sherpa-like blanket. Another one is a giant giant polar bear skin.
I'll use that one. That one smells like alabaster. He always used it when he was in here.
Well, I'm going to take one of the blankets and just put it over the Chronomancer. Help keep him warm.
Okay. So you tuck the Chronomancer in on the ground, and he appears to be very pale and very drawn. He looks like almost like he's been had his life energy drained.
I think
Perhaps he requires healing.
Yeah, I think in seeing that, Billy kind of remembers. I mean, she's been trained to not really get into these feelings. Said she was like little, but she, thinks about how she feels when she's overexpended on runes. How almost intoxicating it is. But she's always been good at ignoring that, and just kind of thinks in her head, like, what if the Chronomancer is different now that he's not connected to his powers, personality-wise? Like, what if the magic lust is?
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds
Okay.
on the Chronomancer.
Okay. How much does it get back?
Let's see. I'm gonna use a higher level slot. So
And does that remove persistent conditions as well?
no, just hit points.
Okay.
So he's gonna get back 3d8 plus 3.
3d8 plus 3. Do you want to roll it or do you want me to?
I don't care.
Okay. I got 3d8s right here.
Okay.
Wait a minute, that's a d10. Sorry. I got d6.
I keep forgetting to mention this, Sean, but I love how your voice for Green sounds like it sounds exactly like what's his name? From Detroit Become Human.
I've not played it.
The game. Oh, you haven't played it? It sounds exactly like this one character who happens to be an android.
Cool.
From Detroit Become Human.
Huh.
What is his name? Connor, that's his name.
I'm going for sort of an asexual kind of Baymax kind of.
I know.
Okay.
All right, I mean,
Hear
I
it.
know for the asexual it works well.
Cool. So
agender.
Mitt gets back several hit points, but still appears to be very drawn in his face, and almost looks like he could use a couple weeks under a heat lamp or with a heat rock, cozied up on a warm rock somewhere. Yadwiga, you were searching the office, correct? Roll an investigation check, and are you looking for anything in particular?
What's your investigation?
My investigation is under intelligence, correct?
Yeah.
It's 13, and then I get a bonus of 1, so 14.
You're not under your skills though. Are you? I know rogues are proficient in a lot
Yes.
of things.
Yeah,
you
I didn't know how
proficient
to. Yeah, I am proficient in it.
Yeah. Did you add
Okay,
your
so that's actually
proficiency
going to be
bonus?
that's going to be a +5 because it's plus proficiency
18.
bonus plus intelligence.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
I just really want to find how to get to that temple in the sands. That's really what I want to do.
You find an entire shelf of atlases from that are written in that have many different forms of writing on the outside, but it appears to be an entire. I mean, some of these books are like 3 feet by 5 feet, and stuffed full of maps. And you wanted to look for a temple in the sands somewhere
Yes.
around the the
The area that we were looking for.
I think Billy's with you.
Um,
I don't know if you're going to need a help action or anything, but I think I'm
might
looking for that
we
too.
might need the
I want to get back just as much as you do because I feel
I do
like
want to grab like a water and then something to eat and then sit down and camp out.
So you're also while you're looking, you find the little bit of larder and the tea tray that was brought in that was left here from completely untouched from earlier today, that the university cafeteria sends up for the professors. And it was sitting there untouched all day. So there's cold tea in it, as well as some biscuits and things like that. So there's some fresh fruit. So there's a few things for you to nosh on. If you can see my cursor, the city the city of Asala is here on the very end of the middle of the area that's called the Middle Riftlands, due to the tectonic activity and that's created both the Rift Sea at the Sea of Reeds and thrown up the Labyrinth Mountains that run the north along the whole area all the way over to the City of Glass. So most of this area is desert or steppes, but the deepest part of the desert is here on the southern part of what it almost becomes a peninsula here. It's at least a headland, and it was said and what this is and this the desert extends as far as up there, and over here to these barrier mountains to the west. This is a high plateau over here that is also mostly desert, but according to the map has a few isolated settlements. Some mountain dwarves have a few mines in there. There are a couple of avian villages up there, and there's a couple of trade routes that lead across it. But mostly, almost this entire area is just trackless desert.
I think I tell Yadwiga, like, look, I have a vested interest in getting back to. I'm not keen to find out what would happen to my family and to this version of Billy. I don't want to do what we did in the last timeline. We've already screwed that one up. Let's go back to that one before we screw up anything more. I don't have any interest in, messing more things up. Plus, I know you're looking for your payout.
Turn over my notes really quick to find out why we were going over there in the first place.
Yeah, because the Chronomancer was more my mission. The temple was more your mission. I don't remember taking any notes about that.
This, the ruins were where the gnomes were, correct?
Yes. Where the gnomes were.
Right.
It was an alternate memory that you had seen,
Hmm.
and you had seen yourself going into a ruined temple in the middle of the desert. The alternate you.
I found that. Okay, yes.
It doesn't say exactly where it was, but
Right.
some time spent in meditation and reflection, or something like that might allow you to conjure the memory up.
Yeah. It just okay, so now that I have that, just as you were trying to find answers for your family, I'm trying to find answers for why I had a direct vision about going into these ruins.
Of course.
Whether we don't want to break anything in this reality, we're still breaking reality by continually being here. The more you
Yes.
interact with your family now, still breaks reality, because that's now a second Vishamus that you've had to tell about us in a different alternate universe, alternate plane.
Yes. Yeah. You think it was a mistake coming here?
But we didn't have a choice to come here. We were brought here. The answer is, why were we brought here?
I don't like messing things up for my family, even if they're not really my family, or they're different versions of them. It's really confusing.
Why don't we keep? I'm gonna keep looking this information up. See where
I'd appreciate the direction. I wanna
to
know.
go, and then when Vishamus comes back, we'll see if we can get more information from him.
Roll me an investigation check.
Can I give her advantage?
Using what?
Using the
Oh,
fact
using
that I'm here
your
and
sage
I'm a
skills.
sage researcher. Yeah,
Yes.
she's got better investigation than I do, and I'm sage.
20, not a natural 20, modified.
You find an older atlas that actually shows a gnomish a no city a set of gnomish ruins in the at the end of this valley here. It was once powered by a giant water wheel that made use of outflow from the mountains during storm season in order to power it. But according to the information we're able to find, with the invention of solar glass, the water wheel was basically put into obsolescence, and people stopped getting their power from them, and this gnomish city died. And it is almost directly west of Asala, in going straight across into the desert.
I'm gonna grab a piece of paper, and try to sketch out this map on that paper to
Okay.
carry with me.
You can take some time. As you Green, did you want to do anything while the other two are researching?
I'm just checking on the Chronomancer. I was looking to see if there's some kind of a skill or something I could use to like examine him, and I just want to make sure he's okay.
Did you take any of those particular spells of delving, or I guess cure wounds? Your cure wounds would also have included kind of a diagnostic of him as well.
And I forgot something, by the way. I forgot he's got this because of the life domain. Where'd it go?
I love the level 2 cleric feats.
Yeah, it's like a lesser restoration type of thing, right?
Let's see. There's his Disciple of Life, so he gets more hit points there. Blessed Healer. Oh, that healed me too.
Well, cool. You got all your hit points back.
Yay. I thought I did something where I got. No, I must have been thinking of something else. Never mind. Ignore. Oh, I was looking at something else. Forget. Ignore.
Okay.
JK, LOL. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like looking him over, and I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know. I'm trying to like, what does he need? How can I help him?
While you're giving him life energy, you realize that part of his the center of his ki has been siphoned away.
Oh,
His life
He?
his
Is he a monk?
his life force appears to have been siphoned away and refilled and siphoned away and refilled many times. So it's kind of like you squeeze all the jelly out of a donut and then refill it with something else and then do it again. So it's got lots of residue from different things. It's kind of weird.
I don't know that can be healed, except perhaps with time. Maybe.
It's more. It's more of a lesser restoration, cure disease kind of thing.
I have lesser restoration, and I also have greater restoration.
Greater restoration will definitely do it.
I also have remove curse.
That would do it as well.
You know what? Sure, remove curse is a lower level spell. So I'll hang on to greater restoration. I'll keep that in my back pocket. Yeah, I'll try casting remove curse on him. See what that helps him any.
Okay.
I hear magic.
Yep.
We want to wait till Seamus gets back.
Green takes the moment of diagnosis to enact the cure and casts the remove curse spell. Etherically, the green mist comes seeping out of the joints between your armor and seems to penetrate under the Chronomancer's scales. You see his scales and his skin begins to relax and his breathing becomes less labored. And his color returns back to a pretty buff from the kind of grayish pallor it had been taking, and his breathing stabilizes and becomes regular.
Okay,
and now
good.
He appears to just be sleeping.
Perfect.
At this
work here.
At this time, while you are doing this, Vishamus comes in the door, trailed by a sleepy-looking Elspeth, and they both come in the door as your green tendrils are retracting back in, and Elspeth looks at you and says, oh, Is it a life spirit? It is a life spirit.
I think hearing my mom, I come out of the other side of the office.
She looks over and she looks very puzzled and her eyes widen. She says, "Really?
Yeah."
Oh, my dear child, what happened to you? Oh. And she faints.
Oh, no. No.
Crumple's right there, and Vishamus says, "But dear, I told you."
I run over.
And he says,
Is she injured? Does she require healing?
No, I warned her, but that it would be strange to take. But you're asleep in your bed upstairs, as is your sister's, and of course she wakes up as soon as she hears anything untoward. So she refused to stay up there, even though I entreated her to remain so.
Sorry, you're Villy or Samay?
Both Villy and Samay are asleep upstairs.
Oh, you were saying Elspeth. Never mind.
Yes, yes. Elspeth insisted on coming to see whatever was going on.
We have to be careful what we. I mean, sorry, not Pedro. Yeah, Vega and I were just talking. We have to be careful about what we say and what information we share. We don't know if we're breaking the frame of reality by doing it.
Well, from what I from looking at all of you, it appears that the frame of reality is already being broken.
I know, but there are ways to make it worse.
I have a question about your portal. Does your portal go to a different dimension in time, or are you coming into the same? We're trying to figure out if we've been transporting to your dimension, or if we were already transported to your dimension when we were with the Chronomancer.
The key has the ability to go between dimensions. However, it did not do so for me to get to you before. You were not.
Wait, so you didn't?
No, I opened up. It's only a physical place portal. I did not open a time portal or a dimensional portal in order to retrieve you here.
Interesting. That means that wherever the Markel sent us before, it must have been.
No, it was the ritual circle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, did I do this because I pictured your office?
What is your relationship with the Ambers? I'm looking at by Seamus.
The Ambers.
Stephen Amber. No, Victor
Amber.
Victor Amber.
There's been there. I do not know of any Ambers.
Has there been any talk of an inquisition in this area?
An inquisition in Solaire? Well, there's only scientific inquisition here.
Inquisition.
I mean, the real question is, do you know the gods fall?
The gods fall? What do you mean the gods fall? What
That's
are you
all we need to
talking
do.
about?
Said enough.
If he does, the gods fall was the cataclysmic event.
I'm gonna stop Billy and be like, no, we cannot alter time anymore. Just know that the God's Fall was an event that.
I'm not giving all the details. I'm just saying it's the thing that it's what we did. You know, it's what we fixed.
It's just a big event that has taken place. You're trying to figure out where we are.
He goes over to his desk and pulls out a small, very familiar to Yadwiga looking lens. Little crystal and a little crystalline gem and looks through it at each of you and says, "Oh, good heavens!"
Is that the gem of seeing?
He says, "Yes, it is my gem of seeing."
Your gem of seeing.
Well, yes. Who else would have a gem of seeing around here? Now stand still.
That means you created this.
Well, of course I did. A good mage always creates his own tools. Now stand still and let me examine you. Oh, amazing. Quite extraordinary. And and then he turns to look at Green and he goes, "Oh, good God." He's fascinating.
I'm gonna go while he's looking at me. I'm gonna go grab one of the other blankets off the rack and lay it over the lady who's laying on the floor.
Okay. He's looking and he says,
I mean, I'm cradling her at this point. I mean, I'm holding.
"Fascinating, extraordinary." You're cradling Elspeth, and she begins to come to slightly. She looks up and she says, "Oh dear, Villy, yes, great, Villy."
Yes, I know. I look older. Please don't pass out again.
She bolts up right. She says, "Look how big you are. When did this happen?" She looks up and says, "Seamus, what has happened?"
Your Villy is still okay. time business.
If it is any consolation, I do not understand what they are talking about either.
And I think, and as Elspeth comes to and begins to sit up, Vishamus offers her a restorative drink. She takes a sip, and she says, "Well, it's still late at night, so we have many hours. We have many hours now until before any of us have to do anything. Tell us what is going on." And as you relate your story, we will continue next time. So we will. So when we return, we will assume that you have the opportunity to decide how much you are going to tell them and what you want your plans to be. I'd recommend y'all discuss it in the group chat, the group the DM string, and decide how much information you want to give them and what you want your next moves to be.
I'm probably
Yeah,
explaining to
it's
Sean
tricky.
just what all the fuck what all of this is.
Yeah.
It's confusing to me.